All right, let's get started. Welcome everybody to our October meeting on correctable errors. Those that were on with us last month, I told you I'm not quite sure I'm going to do this because as I was talking with John earlier, correctable errors don't happen very often. And when they do, when you're clipping video, at least when I'm doing it, they don't stand out like a sore thumb, like a black charge. You say, oh, I got to get that one. But correctable errors can actually go unnoticed if you don't know what's going on. I do have one actual video that happened. We'll explain. And then I actually fabricated a few videos. Maybe you'll notice, maybe you won't. But I made a few that have correctable errors so we can just discuss what the rule is and how that'll work. So who can tell me what the 5 correctable errors are? There are 5 correctable errors. Can you tell me what they are? It's actually pretty simple because 4 of them involve what? Free throws. So 4 of them involve free throws. Does anybody want to take a stab at it, or are we all afraid? All right, I'll tell you. The first one is, well, they might not be in the order that the rule book has, but the first one is awarding an unmerited free throw. All right, so someone is not supposed to get a free throw and you let them have it. The second one is the converse of that, not awarding a merited free throw. So they're supposed to get one and you didn't let them take it. All right. The next one is allowing the wrong player to shoot the free throws. The fourth one, letting the right player shoot at the wrong basket. And then the fifth one is erroneously counting or canceling a score. All right. Those are the 5 correctable errors officially by the book that we are allowed to correct within a certain time frame. And the time frame is, who can tell me that? Anybody? I'm going to let somebody answer. No? You have a correctable error, and let's say the clock is running. You have a correctable error, and then the ball becomes dead. Before that ball becomes live again, you need to, the second live ball, is that what I said? Second live ball, you need to have that corrected. Okay. If the clock is stopped and an error is made, and then it starts properly and it runs, as soon as the ball becomes dead, it needs to be corrected before that next live ball starts. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So it's the way they word it is that after the second dead ball, when the error was made, but it's just think about it. Once there's a dead ball after once the clock is running properly, after the first dead ball and the second live ball, then you can't correct it anymore. We'll talk about that a little bit more as we show the video, the videos that I have, but that's the important groundwork.
Josh, I got a question for you then.
Yeah.
So let's say you're having a free throw that's unawarded or whatever. Okay. One unawarded free throw.
You gave a free throw that is not awarded.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. The guy makes it. So you got 1 point. So he's really got a point on the board that shouldn't be authorized. Okay. You don't catch it. Team inbounds the ball, comes down, makes a basket. When the ball goes through the hoop, we got a dead ball. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. Once they throw the ball back in and it's live, is it over? That's it. So if they go, you hear the table, Once that ball comes in, it's a live ball again. Is that when you can't do anything?
Correct. And we're going to have a couple scenarios so we can talk about it while we watch the video.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
All right, no, you're getting a little ahead of yourself. You're taking away my thunder.
Well, I'm sorry. I'll shut up.
I'm just kidding.
Oh.
All right. Here we go. Player goes in. Got a foul. Okay, official calls a foul. This looks like a rebounding foul, but he's shooting 2 shots. 25, I'm going to rewind it just a little bit. We saw that 25 got fouled, right? And it just happens to be that 25 was the one who fouled. He reports it. But then who's coming to the line? Wait a second. That's not 25. That's 11. So we have the wrong player shooting the free throws, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
So he shoots, puts it in, shoots, puts it in. They inbound the ball. The live ball has now, the clock is now properly started.
Dead
As
ball.
Tim said, once he makes that shot and the ball goes through, it's now a dead ball, correct? And he passes it in and it's a live ball. They go down and around and they play all this time, right? What happens? They call a timeout. The officials get together. I made this video a little long. I'm sorry.
No, that's good.
At this point, the officials now realize as they're talking it through, wait a second, we had the wrong player shoot those free throws. Hey, you said it was 25, I thought. And then did you see it was 11? And they all talk about it and they say, yeah. Oh, okay. Well, what do we do now? Can anybody tell me what we do now?
It's too late.
Why is it too late?
Weren't there more than 2 dead balls?
Yes. So what happened was the clock hadn't started when the error happened, right?
Right.
Because they were shooting free throws. And even though the ball is live at the disposal of the free thrower, and then it's dead when it goes through the basket, and he made 2 baskets, right?
Yeah,
But the clock had never started properly. So we're still at this point able to correct that error. But then when they pass the ball in and the clock starts, and then they shoot and it goes in, and now the ball's dead and they pass it in and now it's live, all bets are off.
so if it went in on the other team that shot it and it went in, if they would have corrected it there before it went in bounds, then it would have been a correctable error, correct?
That's a
In
good.
other words, they would have then been able to correct it.
And let's watch that scenario. I think I have one like that. Same play. Okay. Same play. Shoots, gets fouled. He says, we're shooting 2. Number 25 was fouled again. And 11 steps to the basket, right? So now again, we have the wrong shooter at the line.
Now you got a live ball.
The ball is live, but the clock has not started, right?
Okay.
Okay, let's stop it right now. Is it correctable?
Yes,
Right now, is it correct? Okay, great.
yes.
Oops, sorry, went back too far. Now the ball is live, right? And the coach is yelling out, wait a second. That was the wrong player who shot those free throws. That was the wrong player. Now we've got another whistle here, which means what?
We got a
We
dead
got a
ball.
chance to change that last point.
Right, the whistle. Yes, the whistle means there's a dead ball. Right now, the clock had started properly, and now there's a dead ball. Is it still correctable?
Yes,
Why?
because the clock hasn't started yet. After the dead ball.
Because we haven't had a second live ball.
Correct, because the ball hasn't become live for a second time after the error, after the clock was started properly after the error. Very good. So we talk about, the referees talk and say, okay, well, this is correctable. So what do? He put 2 free throws in, right?
He did.
So we got to take those points off. So back to 38. Move back just a little bit, right? It was 40 with those 2 free throws. We take them away. Well, sorry, you don't get them. I'm sorry you put them in, but you weren't the one who was supposed to shoot. And after we correct the score, what do?
Have the right guy shoot the free throw.
We clear the lane, right? And put the right guy on the lane to shoot. Hopefully we remember who that is. Then what do?
Come back and shoot these free throws down here.
How do we resume the game though?
You pick it up where you stopped before you did the free throws at the other end.
Correct. We resume at the point of interruption, right? Where you interrupted the game to rectify the error. right? And that was at the foul, right? So do we clear the lane for these?
No,
No.
No, because we're going back to the point of interruption, and after the free throws, it's just going to continue on. Correct?
Correct.
correct.
Everyone understands the difference between those two scenarios, yes?
Yes.
All
I
right.
got
Let me give you another scenario. Same play. All right. I'm going to play it again. I'll try and talk it through. Wait a second. I feel like I've seen this play already. Let me guess. He's going to have number 11 at the line. All right, so we have the wrong player shooting. And we all know that this is an error. And he puts it in. Wait, what was that? The ever annoying table. You know, you never want to hear the noise because that means you know you screwed up, right? The table horns and says, wait a second. I thought 25 was shooting. Correctable or no?
Yes,
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely correctable because the clock hadn't started yet, right? Properly. So we're still well within the time frame of correcting the error. But how do we correct it now?
take the point off and let the right guy shoot 2 free throws.
That's right. It's correctable. So we correct the error and take away the 1 point that he scored, right?
Right.
And then what do we do?
And then everyone lines up the way they're lining up, except 25 is shooting the free throw.
I thought we had to clear the lane though, because we
No,
had the
but
wrong
that was
shooter on the
because
line.
But this got corrected earlier than there was existing play. There hasn't been existing play here.
You resume at the point of play, and that's where we're at. The free throws.
Right. But if there's no change of possession after the error has been realized that it was made, then you just go back and you line everybody up and you go as normal, right? So that's the one kind of caveat. It's not necessarily to the point of interruption. It's if there was a change of possession.
Okay.
Everyone understand that?
Yeah.
Yep.
So we just put the right player to the line. Make sure we do wipe that basket off. And you let him shoot the 2. And we resume just like we normally would. Now, what we need to do a better job of when it comes to correctable errors, and again, it doesn't happen very often, but is listening to our table, right? Because the table is telling us we've got information. Is the table an official or are they just the administration?
They're an official.
The official scorebook, they're an official. That's why they have to wear, I know it's recommended, but that's why they have to wear a striped shirt because they're an official. They're the 4th member of our team. And even though it doesn't seem like it sometimes, they're just there with the school. If they have the right information to help us, we have to listen to them. And instead of saying, I got it, we're not changing it, I was right. Listen, and maybe they got it wrong. Maybe they didn't hear us right. And we can talk about that. But if we're wrong and we can correct it, let's correct it. All right. You guys get all those 3 scenarios, yes?
Yes.
Yep.
All right. Let me do my next video and let's see what you think on this one. Now, that official, as I pointed out, is calling a foul. Even though the mechanics aren't great, he's calling a foul. Okay? So now he goes to report, and we're going to take a look here. It's a blue foul, and they've got 7 fouls. But what does that mean?
Means they're in the bonus.
It means they should be shooting 1 and 1, yes?
Yes.
But look what happens. They don't shoot 1 and 1. They just have a throw in. Uh-oh. That's the end of the quarter. The end of the half. Is this correctable?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Why?
Because
Again,
Should have been awarded a
there
free
wasn't
throw.
even an attempt. Second live ball.
you hadn't had a live ball yet.
Okay, so the error was made when the clock was running or not?
No.
It
No.
wasn't.
So what has to happen for it to be correctable? Did the clock start after the error was made?
Yes.
Yes. And then the quarter ended, which causes
ball.
what?
Dead ball.
That first dead ball.
And it hasn't become live yet.
That's right. If it
Again.
becomes live again, all bets are off. But since it has not become live again, it's still a dead ball, even though it's the end of the quarter and the end of the half and everyone's leaving the gym, the live ball hasn't started again, right?
Correct.
Correct.
All right. So it's still correctable. Let's go back and finish. All right. Now this is my game, and this is an actual correctable error. This actually happened. We are getting together, and I just want to mention here, I was, just so you get a little context, I was the lead right now on this play, okay?
Okay.
And so when the foul happens, it comes from the center, right? And you see that the trail is going down to be the new lead. And I'm the one who puts the ball in play for a throw in. Okay. Now, after that play, the coach is yelling at me because he wanted a foul. And I was yelling back at him saying, that wasn't a foul. I'm not calling that as a foul. Well, as that exchange is happening, as I'm not paying attention to my partner, I thought he just was calling it out of bounds and we were going that way. He reported a foul. So I didn't even realize he was reporting a foul because I, unfortunately, was engaging with the coach. So I'm not paying attention. So afterwards, this all plays out and the officials get together. The trail then comes in and says, wait a second. Did you have a foul on that? And the center's like, yeah, I had a foul. Says, oh, well, it was bonus. And we all go, oh, shit. So we talk about it. Now we have all of halftime to talk about this. And we find out, yes, this is still correctable. Well, I mean, I knew right away it was correctable, not to pat myself on the back, but we talked about it. We looked it up. We went into the casebook. We did everything that we had to do to verify, because how often does this happen? Not very, right?
Rarely.
So we know it's correctable. And in fact, in the casebook, there's a play that is almost exactly, if not exactly, to what just happened with us. So this is how we rectify it. What do we do? What do we do?
Clear the lane.
Yep. Clear the lane, shoot the free
Clear the
throw.
lane and let the player who got fouled shoot. But how are you going to remember who got fouled? It was happened 10 minutes ago.
The book can hopefully help you.
But what if the book only reports who fouled and not who was fouled, right?
Yeah.
So my point is, I'm going to stop this. First, I would do that, Tim. I would go to the table and say, we screwed up. We should have been shooting free throws. Do you know who got fouled? They're probably not going to know. That's my guess. They're probably not going to go. So where are you going to go from there? I'm going to the team of the player who got fouled. They're not going to lie. And if they do, I mean, I guess you kind of take it on a little bit of faith, but hey, who got fouled on that play? The coach will know, the player will know, and kind of go from there, because you got to get a cue from something. You can't just say, well, we don't, I mean, you could just say we don't know, so we're not going to fix it, but we want to fix it. So go to the coach, figure it out. We got the player, right? And you put that player to the line. But which line does he go to? Because we're switching for the quarter. Anybody?
I would think he's got to shoot it where he should have been shooting.
That's right. Even though you're switching for the new quarter, he has to shoot at the old basket because that was where the error was made. You have to correct the error where it was supposed to be at that time. So they shoot at that basket, and he shoots a 1-and-1. He misses the first one, we're done. If he puts the first one, he gets a second shot, just like any other bonus free throw. And then how do we resume?
As you would normally start the second half,
At the
if there
point,
was no error. If
correct.
there was no error.
At the point of interruption, when you stopped play to rectify the error, which was at the end of the quarter. So we're going to start like we would a normal quarter with the arrow to whoever gets the arrow. It's not a technical foul that would alter that. And we just put them at the line and we start that way. Right?
Right.
Got it.
Hey, Josh,
Just, yes.
I got a quick question. You guys had a correctable error there, like you said. You went to the coaches or the team over there. You asked them, right? That's what you're saying. They gave you the player. Did you ever look back on the video to see if they actually gave you the right player?
Yeah, this was the video, Tim.
No, I know. Did you look back and see if that was the right kid that got fouled?
You mean during the game?
Oh, now.
Yeah, no, we had the right player.
Okay, I just want to know because you never know.
But you don't have that ability during the game. So I'm not even want to talk about that. Yeah, you can go back and kind of ease your mind, but you have to make a decision, right?
Correct.
So yeah, we went to, I don't remember if we remembered or not. I really don't, but
Okay.
I'm pretty sure we went to the coach and he said, yeah, it was 25 got fouled. Why? We didn't tell him why. I'm like, oh, well, we screwed. Oh, okay. Because if you say, hey, whoever got fouled, they have to shoot free throws. We missed it. Oh, let me see. It was number 2. He's our best free throw shooter.
Yeah,
So we do have to go a little bit on faith, but
of course.
now Mike chatted that maybe we should tell the book who's shooting the free throws in case we get it wrong. But one, we didn't even know we were shooting free throws. That's what we got wrong. So we wouldn't have even told them that because that was our error. And 2, that's too much. I don't think we should do it because now I got to, find out 2 players, the one who fouled, the one who's shooting. That's why they say your partners, they don't tell you out loud, hey, you're 22 is your shooter, because then you go to the table and you report 22, right? But actually 12 fouled. So you don't want to tell them the number, but I got your shooter. We're all a team. We're helping each other out. So that's how we get the right shooter on the line. But we can't tell the book. That's too much to remember. That'll screw things up, I think. All right. Let's try this one. Okay, 1-on-1, the official show. The official show is 1-and-1. But wait a second. That's only 6 fouls. The officials obviously don't know because they're lining the kid up, right? And he shoots the second one. He puts both of them in. Clock has started. We got a foul. Okay, a little bit of commotion, some injury maybe. Uh-oh, the dreaded horn. The dreaded horn. And they are saying, wait a second. Those, we shouldn't have had free throws. Maybe they're writing in the book again. And you guys shot free throws. Actually, we shouldn't have had them. What do we do? Is it correctable?
Yes.
Okay. Why is it correctable?
Because we haven't had the second live ball yet.
Right. Clock hasn't started yet on this next play.
Correct. So we had the error happen during a dead ball. And even though there was 2 live balls and dead balls, right? Clock wasn't running. So now the clock then starts and is properly started. And then there's another dead ball until it becomes live again. It's correctable, right?
Yep.
How do we correct it?
Take
Okay,
the free
so
throws
the team that
away.
shot the 1-and-1, they should just get the ball out of bounds where it was, where he got fouled at half court, essentially.
Okay, well, they shot the 1-and-1 and he put both free throws in.
We got to take those off.
That's the first thing we do. The first thing we do is, not that we know it is correctable, we have to cancel the score, right?
Yep.
We take those points away. And then how do we resume?
Right where you're at, or that
Yeah.
white shoots the free throws, normal. That's where you pick it up.
Yeah, but
I disagree.
they would have got the ball out of bounds and
They should get the ball at half court where the foul was, and the red team should bring it in and carry on.
okay,
They
we
shouldn't
have
have gotten free throws, but they should have had the ball.
2 answers. What do we think? Which one's right? They can't both be right.
I think you shoot the free throws.
So
That shouldn't have occurred.
okay, so we
Look at it.
awarded free throws that were not merited, correct?
Correct.
We all agree we have to take those free throws away. They're not allowed those points because they shouldn't have been allowed to shoot them. Right?
That's correct.
Okay. Then the clock properly ran. And then a foul was called. Do we cancel that foul and go back to the spot where we left off?
I believe so. Why should they be penalized? They got fouled. They should still have the ball. That was a correctable error there. So
Okay.
they should have the ball.
Okay. So that error was correctable, but everything that happened after that, that's part of the game. All that happened after it happened legally. So that foul that happened at the end is still a foul. And we're not going to go back and say, you know what, we'll just go back. We'll give you the throw in and we'll start from there because all that time came off. We're not going to put time back on. You're not supposed to by rule. You're supposed to then go to the point of interruption where you are rectifying the error. And where was the game interrupted to rectify the error?
Just before you shoot those free
After the
throws.
foul happened, the second foul. So,
Okay, you're right.
so we have to take the points away and we will go to the free throws of the foul that just happened.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
Okay.
So that one team's getting penalized then.
Well, you can look at it that way and say they didn't get the ball out of bounds and they didn't get the rebounds. And I guess that does seem kind of unfair, but isn't it also unfair that they were able to drive the basket and take another 10 seconds off the clock? It's a 31-35, not 35 now, 33 game. It's a close game. What if you don't know what the exact time was? What if you don't know? And a lot of these high school, they don't have the recall button to go back to the last, time where it was stopped. You can't just willy-nilly put a time on and say, well, it was about 8 seconds. We'll put that back on and go back to where we left off. You can't do that, right? So all the time that was consumed and everything that happened during that time is legal and sticks and stays.
Okay.
Couldn't you, that's obviously the answer, but couldn't you just give the free throws with nobody in the lane? So he's awarded the free throws.
Okay.
He makes 1 or 2, and then give the ball to the team that should have gotten it.
Because the point of
They would
interruption,
get it anyway.
the
Point of
point,
interruption is underneath there, underneath the
point of
basket.
interruption is where the ball is shot. And when that ball is shot on a free throw, if you are a better rebounder, why aren't you allowed to get it?
Well, that would have been true in the previous one too. It was a 1-on-1, but you
And-
cleared the lane.
And Jerry, I can go with your logic and understand exactly what you're saying, almost in a sense of fairness, right?
Right.
But that kind of alters the game then and say, okay, look, we'll do this. And then we'll go back here, and it confuses things. So the rule book says, no, just do it this way.
Okay.
You made an error. We made an error.
Yeah.
You know what? And it's too bad that for the kids, but we made an error. We can't just say, well, let's figure it out. Nope. We know that there was an error. We're going to finish the game from this point, and we're just going to fix what that error was. Is it the fairest thing to do? I don't know. I don't know how long this rule's been in effect, but I think it's been there a long time. And if they thought it was unfair, they would have probably changed it by now, right? I don't know. It's important that you know what the rule says, because you can logically say to yourself that, well, the fair thing would be to do this, but it's not about logically what you think is fair. It's what the rule says that you have to do. And that's how we don't move on in postseason. When you screw things up like that, yeah, you made an error, and now you made a second error by not doing it right.
Yes, we start out a sentence by saying, by rule, I can do this, but I can't do that. And I blame the rule book.
Right. I mean, really. All right. Let's show another one. I got another one. Let's see. We did the wrong player. We did the unmerited.
Let's do the right player at the wrong basket.
I don't have one of those.
I hope you don't have one next year.
Right.
All right, hold on. Let's read back. Let's take a look right now. So we've got 34 to 38, right? The home team who has the ball, that's 34. I just want to point it out so we can see. This player's on the line, yes, and shoots. What do we got?
Mayhem.
One official gives the 3-point successful signal, and another one does nothing. Now, just because we do nothing doesn't necessarily mean we're saying it's a 2. Maybe he wasn't his area. Maybe he wasn't looking at it. But we have one official who is counting this as a 3-point field goal, correct?
Correct.
Is this a correctable error, or is this just a screw up and we have to move on?
It's correctable.
Why is it correctable?
Awarding an unmerited point.
Erroneously counting a score, correct. Nobody knows about it right now because we're going on, but then they put the points up. We see they put up the points, 37, yes? And the coach realizes, wait a second, they just gave him 3 points. So he's yelling to us, that was only a 2, that was a 2. All right, so the official hears. You can't see his hand there, but he's got his hand up. He stops the clock because he hears that it's only a 2. Well, why would we stop the clock now and not just wait? Can anyone tell me that? Have you guys had pre-games before? It happens a lot in pre-games where they say, listen, if we have a 3 and you know it's a 2, stop the clock right away and fix it. Don't get together, just fix it. Why don't we say, like in a free throw, or whatever, like, well, let's wait until there's a dead ball and we'll figure it out. And then we'll talk about it and we'll correct it if we have to correct it. Why don't we just do that?
Well, if there could be like 6 seconds left in the game, and the whole strategy of the team with the ball would change depending on.
Okay, let's say
it was a 3 or 2.
Okay, let's say there's 7.5 minutes left. It just started.
Well, you can't have one rule with a lot of time left and a different rule with a little time left.
Okay, but it's not in the rules book that we're supposed to blow our whistle and stop right away, right? That's not in the rule book. So why do we do it? There is a reason. There's an answer. The answer is, if we don't, we could have a basket that's made and passed in, and now we can't correct it because it follows the same rules. Just because it's erroneously counting a score doesn't make it different, right? So if you know that we got it wrong, stop it right away, fix it, because now you're within that window of a correctable error.
Yeah.
Gosh, what do you do if the team is on a fast break and it's obvious fast break layup, easy bucket, do you stop that or do you let them score and then correct the error?
That is a great, great question. Just like almost everything else that we handle when you've got something, maybe a technical foul on a coach, or you want to have a warning or something else where you need to stop play to handle it. If the team, or maybe like an injured player, right? An injured player goes down, but it's not life threatening. We don't stop the clock right away, because if the team is advancing the ball, you don't want to take away that advantage. Same difference here. I know that was a 2 and my partner just scored it a 3, but they just passed the ball in quick and they're making a drive to the basket. Let them finish, because if they put that bucket in, can we still correct it?
Yes.
Yes.
When can't we correct it?
When they inbound it.
When they inbound it. So once the ball goes in, boop, 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 stop it. And you're still within that window. So absolutely let the play continue if they are advancing the ball. If they're kind of just passing it around, you can stop it right there and correct it then. That's a great question, because we have to be aware of play. We have to know what's going on, because you can't just say, oh, no, I know it, I'm going to get it right away. No, if they might advance the ball, we don't want to take away that advantage. All right, let me finish this out. I think there's a little bit left to watch. All right, so he yells out, it's a 2, right? And we stop the clock because they're just passing the ball around. They're not advancing the ball. How do we correct this? The official comes over to talk to the table, because just because the coach yells that it was a 2 and not a 3 doesn't necessarily mean he's got the right information. And the new lead right now was the trail who counted the 3, correct? So he has to come into the conversation and say, hey, did you count that a 3? I saw his foot on the line, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then once you figure out that we actually did screw it up, take the points away, the one that's not merited. So you take the 1 and make it a 2. And how do we resume?
No,
The
point
team
of
that had-
interruption.
Where you're at.
Point of interruption, where we stop the game to rectify the error.
Inbounds on the sideline.
Correct. And we start just like everything else. It's now been corrected and the game can continue. Now, erroneously canceling or counting a score is a little easier, because it's just you fix the score and then we can move on almost. But you have to understand the procedure and the window, because again, if it scores, then it scores on the other end and it scores. And then you say, the coach says, wait a second, was that a 3 or a 2? Oh, I had it a 3. Oh, his foot was on the line. And your partner's like, yeah, his foot was on the line. You can't correct it. Not even if your partner knew that his foot was on the line and he's saying, yeah, I saw it was on the line. Well, you should have said something earlier. Now we can't correct it, because that is within the correctable error. Now, if the scorekeeper makes an error, if you signal a 3 and I go up for a 3, it's good. And the scorer puts 2 points on the board. Is that a correctable error within the time frame?
At any time.
Correct. You can correct the score at any time for a mistake. The scorer's mistake, not us. If we say it's a 3 and it was a 2 and we said it was a 3, so the scorer put up a 3, that's within the window. But if we say it's a 3 or we say it's a 2 and the scorer puts up the wrong points from what we told them to put up, that you can correct at any time. Big distinction between that. Yes?
Yes.
So that way, basically the scorer can't just say, no, that was a 3. I don't care what he says. I'm putting 3 points up. Yeah. Right. And then you don't know for 5 possessions, you can still fix it, because you can't do that. I know you're an official, but I'm running the game here. All right. How about
now and take it to the hole twice now, completing the 3-point play. All 5 of Bogan's points early on in the game.
He's got all 5 points in the entire game so far. Bogan likes to run. They will put pressure on you.
Anybody see what happened there? I'm going to scroll back. Watch the time.
Now and take it to the hole twice now, completing the 3-point play. All 5 of Bogan's points early on in the game.
He's got all 5 points in the entire game so far.
That time is not moving.
I say the clock never started.
Go back to it. Look at this. This shot is in the air going in for a 3, right? What's the time while the shot's in the air?
7:20.
It wasn't running that whole time.
Take it to the hole twice now, completing the three-point play. All 5 of
Is this a correctable error?
He's got all 5 points in the entire game.
Not by book, not by the rule.
Not by the correctable error rule. But this is a timing error that we can correct. So it's an error that's correctable. It's just not a quote unquote correctable error. Does everyone understand that?
Yep.
I do bring it up though, because I didn't say this was necessarily Rule 2, Section 10 correctable errors. There's other errors that can happen that we can correct. And this timing, we can. Now, how do we correct it? As you saw, that clock wasn't running in the possession before even the throw-in. It wasn't a throw-in error. It was while he was shooting the ball even. So how do we know how long that clock wasn't running?
I mean, we don't, but
Estimate.
Do you guess?
No, you can't guess.
Well, what do you do then? The coach is all over you now. 15 seconds just came off the clock or didn't come off the clock. We were out there for 15 seconds. So do you take the coach's word for it and put 15 seconds off?
no.
So what do we do?
I think you guess.
We can't guess.
Oh,
Yes.
The rule book actually tells us what to do. The rules book says, if you have definite knowledge, then you can fix the time. It doesn't say anything other than that, which means if you don't have definite knowledge, can you fix it?
No.
No. But do we have definite knowledge in this clip?
That the clock didn't start?
That
Yes.
the clock, do we have definite knowledge about how much time did not run off?
No.
No, not definite, no.
Sure we do. We might not get all of the time where it didn't run, but we know for at least this much. Watch the trail as he counts the back court. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, then he blows his whistle. Right? Can we say that we have definite knowledge that at least 6 seconds did not come off the clock?
Yes.
So can we correct that at least, even though it wasn't all of the time, can we correct that 6 seconds?
Yes.
Yes.
No.
We sure can.
With the 6 you can, but you can't add more.
You can't add more because you don't know any more than that. You could guess, but guessing is wrong too. Now it's 7:20. It's not necessarily as big a deal. Looks like he took 5 off. Which, okay, he got to 5. That is totally acceptable. And you're better off taking the amount of time that you know came off and not getting it all than just saying, sorry, coach, because they're not going to like you not taking anything off, right? But if you really don't know, if you weren't counting in the backcourt, don't guess, because the video will come back and they're going to say, he took off 10 seconds and look, it was only 8. Now, again, with 7:20 left in the third or whatever quarter that was, first, I think it was the first, it's not going to make a huge deal, right? But what if it's near the end of the game when you've got kind of what Jerry said with the other ones? If you've got like 6 seconds left and it's a 2-point game, you have to know. So that's why we're counting backcourt every time. If there's 9 seconds left in the game and they're starting in their backcourt with a throw in, and you're like, well, I don't need to count because there's only 9 seconds. They're not going to violate in the backcourt, right? Count anyway. Because if something happens where that clock doesn't start, you'll have definite knowledge and you'll know I got to 4 before I noticed I'm taking 4 seconds off. But if you don't know, you go back to where you were. Actually, you're supposed to go to the point of interruption. So if he got halfway up the court, you might have to go to the sideline,
Correct.
right? And then put it in there. Does everyone understand that?
Yes.
So far,
Point.
all of our correctable errors have been point of interruption, right? For the correction.
Yes.
Right. So if you can keep that in mind, whenever you stop play, you're always going to go back to the point of interruption. Now you might have to do a few things in between there. And if you have to give merited free throws to correct an error and do that and clear the lane, you do that, but you're always going to go back to the point of interruption. Let me give you another clock issue.
Full court press.
What do we see? I'm going to go back fast, back to the beginning again. It's 5:09 on the clock with a throw in.
Yeah.
Clock never starts, right?
Press.
Clock never starts. Clock never starts. Blows his whistle, and now the clock actually starts. So it looks like the timer is just confused. Thought he hit it, maybe he didn't. What's going on here? Who can tell me what's going on?
Not sure about the stoppage. They may be resetting the clock. They did not. Well, they did. They might have taken.
Did you see?
He took some time off.
He took it to 5:03. It was 5:09, and he took it to 5:03. Right?
Yeah.
How many seconds is that?
6 seconds.
6 seconds. How does he know that it's 6 seconds?
He doesn't.
Did he even consult with the trail who's counting?
No, he guessed.
No.
Don't you think that's important to do?
Yes.
Who's going to have definite knowledge about time?
Full court press.
The trail.
The
Really?
trail.
Now, they also stole the ball, right? And went the other way. So he's only going to have maybe 3 seconds while he was counting. And then he stops counting, right? You can't just say it was about 6 seconds taken off. You can't do that. You probably will get away with it. Most coaches and fans and everyone will probably, yeah, okay, it was about 6 seconds. And they'll be fine with it. But that's not the rule. Don't do that, because if you screw it up and they end up losing the game, that was a blowout game, but they end up losing the game and it was a difference of seconds. They could come back to you and yeah, they're not going to change the outcome of the game, but it's going to ruin your reputation. It's going to discredit you as an official. So just don't do it. Do we agree with that?
Yes.
So Josh, then basically what you're saying as a rule book, how we should handle that, it's all about definite knowledge. You have to know how much time came off. It could be 10, but if you only counted 5, you can't take off 10 seconds.
Whenever you have a timing error, the only way you can change it is with definite knowledge.
Right. Okay.
Definite knowledge. And you can't say, well, yeah, you're right, coach. It was like 10 seconds that came off, but I wasn't counting. He wasn't counting. I can't just put 10 seconds because what if it was 8? What if it was 12? We're just going to have to go with what we got. And sometimes that's what you do. And it might not be popular, but if you can explain to a coach, I don't know. I'm not going to take off more than came off. I'm not going to take less than came off. We're just going to go with what we went with. Might not be popular sometimes, but it's the right thing to do. All right.
Well, wait a minute, Josh.
Okay,
What do you mean by we're going to just go by what we know? What you're saying they counted, right? So if they counted 5, we can say we know it was 5, so we'll take 5 off.
Correct, because we are definitely sure 5 seconds came off. But what if 10 seconds came off, but we only counted 5?
Then we got to stay with the 5.
We stay with the 5. But what if we weren't counting and we don't know how much time came off?
Then we don't take any time.
We don't take anything off.
Okay, I just want to make sure on that.
But be ready to be able to explain to the coach shortly, just like that I don't know. I believe you, coach. You're right. It was probably about 10 seconds, but I don't know how much it was, and I can't just guess. He might walk away like, oh, my. But you know what? It's better to do that than to get it wrong.
That's what you're saying is too, what we got to make sure we're doing it, because it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter if there's 7 minutes and 22 seconds left, but you surely better have clock awareness when you're like with 20 seconds, 10 seconds left in the game to make sure that guy starts the clock.
With 7:20 left or whatever it was, it might not make a difference. If you guess or you do the wrong thing, it doesn't make any difference to the game, right? But one, if you just guess there, you're not going to do it right when it actually counts.
Correct.
And Two, yeah, if you might, it might not matter there, but still, then doing nothing's not going to matter either. Right?
Right. My point is you better have clock awareness at the end of the game.
So just do it the right way. Yeah. Make sure you're watching. Now, that's the other thing too, though. That's good, Tim, because if you go, and I'm not saying guess, but if you go and you take some time off because you saw the clock wasn't running, that's going to showcase you that, wow, this guy's on top of it. No one else was watching the clock. He was watching the clock when no one else was. He's on top of this game. That's a good official. They're not going to say that out loud, but that goes through people's minds.
Yep,
Right.
for sure.
You're going to gain credibility by doing that. So yeah, make sure you're aware. All right, let me do one last one. This is more of a fun one. What does it look like we have here? Anybody?
Coach out of the box.
Well, there's no play going on. What's he arguing about?
Some player.
Somebody in the score. Somebody not in the scoreboard.
Looks like there's a scorebook issue, right? Correctable or not correctable?
Correctable.
Correctable.
This is not a correctable error.
Not.
A scorebook is not a correctable error. Now, depending what the error is, I'm assuming it's not, and I don't know for a fact, but I'm assuming it's not a scoring issue. I think it's either a player that wasn't in the book or had the wrong number. The coach comes over. I mean, he's pretty adamant.
Yeah, it's not correctable.
It's a technical. It's got to be a pregame correctable.
Could be a technical. Did you see him? He says the book is right here. And this official knows this is the official book, right? In fact, if you had seen maybe, he says to him early on, Coach, it's your table. I don't know if it is. It looks like that guy's with the white team. But my point is, he's upset, right? Does anybody have a technical foul or a warning at this point?
No.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, so a error in the book is not correctable. Obviously, a scoring error, we're taking that out, not a scoring error, but there wasn't a player in there, or the player had the wrong number, or maybe the player changed his jersey and didn't tell him, or what, right? You can't correct those even within a window of time because it's an administrative act. So if something happens and 35 was out there playing and they found out he was playing while he's on the court, remember, it's only penalized when it's discovered. So if 35 is not in the book and he plays for 3 minutes and then comes out and gets replaced, and then the table says, wait a second, 35 is not in the book. Well, he's not in the game. He just was in the game, but when you discovered it, he wasn't in the game. So now there's no technical foul, but you do go to the coach and you say, Coach, he's not in the book. So if he comes in again, that's a technical foul. All right. But if he's in the game and they go, because he just fouled someone, maybe he's not in the book. What's the penalty? Technical foul. So I guess it's correctable with a technical foul.
Right.
So you put him in the book and it's a technical foul, but it is not within the, hey, we just started, or he changed his jersey and I'm sorry, he didn't tell you. Okay, we'll fix it. No, it's a technical foul. Got it?
It's administrative, so it's not charged to the coach. Is that true?
No, it's administrative, so it does not. He can still stand. It's not an indirect to the coach. That's what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's correct. And I had mentioned all that ranting and raving he was doing. Have anybody had a warning or a technical foul? Did anybody feel like he went too far where you wanted to get him or you would get him? No. Jerry says yes.
No.
I say
so. I don't think so.
Warning.
I say he was upset because he's going to get a technical foul and he knows it. And I
It would
After I watched it, it does look like he was the visitors because his team was the dark team calling him back over. Come on, coach. So that the home team screwed me, right? I gave them my book and they didn't copy it right. And so he's emotionally up here. So we as officials need to recognize that and help talk him down, which I think this official did a pretty good job of allowing him to vent and not allowing him to get too far where we have to stick him with something. If you're going to do something, assuming you haven't given a warning yet, go for a warning then, because you got to at least give the coach a chance to calm himself down. Like, dude, you're too much. All right. I would have done nothing there except just verbally kept him, calm.
Josh, would you have wanted a little help from the crew? I know you're supposed to stay with the guys on the court to watch them, but isn't it helpful if somebody kind of walks over and says, while the official's dealing with the issue at the table, kind of move him off and say, we'll get back to you on this. Have another partner from the crew come over and stare him back.
You mean
second guy come in?
You mean come to get the coach who's ranting and raving?
Yeah, just have another guy in the crew come over and say, come on, let's go back to the bench. We'll sort this out. We'll get back with you.
You could, but I would say probably not, because who's handling the issue? The official at the table, right?
Right.
Who needs else to be there to figure out what's going on? The head coach, right? So those two need to talk to each other. They need to figure it out. And even though the coach is getting out of control, do you really want to say, coach, hold on, come back over here? This clip I found on YouTube, that's where it started.
Mm-hmm.
They might have called the coach over and said, coach, come here. I need to check this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was just looking at it from the point he's all over the ref and the ref's not having time to sort it out, et cetera. So, but I understand what you're saying.
I would let that ref handle it until if you think it's getting out of control and he needs help, yeah, you can go over there.
Okay.
What I do want to say is, as far as administrative, the book buzzes the horn and says, hey, 35 is not in the book. Okay, coach, where's your book? What did you submit to the table? Or maybe they give a sheet. Sometimes they have a sheet with all the list of the names on it, and take that sheet. It's not what is in the book. The rule does not say the official book needs to have this. The rule says the names and the rosters need to be submitted by 10, right? The scorebook may have made an error. It might be on the sheet or the book that they gave them. Oh yeah, look, coach, right here. It's right. So, okay, they just didn't put it in right. Now you can fix it without a technical foul, because it wasn't that he wasn't on the roster. It's that it just didn't get copied into the book properly. Does everyone follow that logic?
Right.
Look for ways around to not call a technical foul. And if the coach says, I give this sheet to everybody, look, this is our roster sheet. Okay, let's look at it. Because it does happen where, especially in say holiday tournaments, and they're rushing through and they're trying to get it all down and they missed 35. Or maybe 35 changed to 40 and it was written on the sheet and it was crossed out in pencil and they didn't see the cross out, but it was there. Right?
Right.
Don't give a pass if they don't deserve it, but help them out if they do. All right. How'd that go? Guys, that was a worthwhile? Correctable errors?
Yeah. It was fun. It was good.
I'm hoping the next correctable error you get will be never. So you won't need the information. But like I said, it does happen. That video I showed you, that was my game. I've been doing this for almost 30 years. That was the first correctable error I've ever had in my career. So just because you get more and more experienced, I like to think I'm getting better. Doesn't mean it's not going to happen. Things happen. So just know how to handle it.
Yeah, well, the good thing about it is, Josh, that you had a correctable error in your game and you got it right.
And we got it right.
That's good.
I'll say this. I didn't know if I wanted to say this or not, but I'm going to say it. We had a discussion at halftime, and that's where I told you, they come over and said, hey, was that shooting? Yeah, that was shooting. Oh, he should have been shooting it. And I said right away, well, that's correctable. We can fix that. And they were like, oh, I'm not so sure. I'm like, what do you mean you're not so sure? I'm telling you that it's correctable. If you, as an official, know that it's correctable, don't let your partners talk you out of it. And I would say, and I don't remember the exact conversation we had, fine, we're going to correct it, and it's on me. If you guys want to be absolved of any responsibility, if I do this wrong, fine. I'm taking the responsibility. This is what we're doing because I knew it was correctable. So if you know, do it because it's the right thing to do. We have to correct our errors.
Plus, Josh, you had time in the locker room to figure out. I mean, you knew it, but then you even had time to look it up to make sure you got it right.
Yeah,
right?
I want to make one correction. This was COVID, so we didn't have a locker room. I'm just being flippant.
Okay.
All right. Next meeting is double whistles. November 18, double whistles. What does that mean?
And stay in your primary.
I don't know about you guys, but in my games, there's always at least one double whistle.
Right.
And I've said this in meetings in the past. A double whistle is not a bad thing. Sometimes it might be. How we react to a double whistle is where the bad things start to happen. If you don't know how to handle a double whistle, that's where you can have problems. Having the double whistle is not necessarily a bad thing, but handling it the proper way. So that's what we're going to talk about. Double whistles, how to handle it. Should we have had one? If we did have one, who was watching what? I'm hoping it'll be relatively comprehensive, but so come next month and hopefully we'll have some more fun. Thanks for coming, guys.
All right,
Much.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jab. Good job.
Thanks, Josh. Good job. Really informative.
Yeah, great session.
Great.
Hey, you made it to the end of this video, which means it's time to hit those like, subscribe, and share buttons. Also, please consider making a donation and help keep this channel running with the best basketball rules video training anywhere. I'll see you in the next one.